Hello, welcome back to another one. My name is Farhan, also known as Gunner since '96. I'm joined here today by James Payne, AFC, for a special episode, podcast episode, video, whatever you want to call it. Um, it was supposed to be an episode where we were going to talk about the Fulham game, but all that seems now to be a little bit. What's the word I'm looking for, James?
Um, Useless.
Yeah, unnecessary, useless. One of those words. I don't know. I'm finding it difficult to find my words today. I'm not going to be as what's the other word I'm looking for? I'm not
Energetic.
not energetic. I just don't think I'm going
Um,
to make sense as much
yeah,
today or be as articulate. That's the word I'm looking for. Articulate. Really,
yeah,
my head really is. I am on the cusp of really. I'm seething. I'm you know,
mm,
this is going to be an interesting episode because I think it's one that I need personally for myself. To if there's anything I need to make sense of, if in all the 28 episodes, however many episodes we've done so far, in therapy, it's today, it's now, it's right now, because um this is really this this is serious.
it is. It
This
is.
is very, very bad. People watching this, just your average Joes, normal human beings, are going to watch this video if they do and probably laugh. Here's a lad who's getting quite upset about football. Many people don't realize why football fans become football fans.
Mm,
In my case, a football fan, or the reason why I'm so invested in this sport, is because it is a way of escaping from reality. The majority of human beings who follow this sport, who are so passionate about following a club or watching a team that a team who represents a city they've never been to, the reason why they're so passionate and pumped up about it is because it gives them 90 minutes to sit back and forget about everything else that's going on in their lives and focus on that. It's a
yeah,
sense of escapism. That's what football is. And that sense of escapism is now being tarnished, and that is now being taken away from us. We're obviously going to be talking about Arsenal's decision to join the European Super League, something we've known about, we've heard about, we've been reading about for a good part of the last decade.
mm,
And I don't pretend to be, an expert on what the European Super League is or the facts, the hard-hitting facts, who's
yeah,
joining, who's not, what the setup of the tournament is, how much money each member will get. But what I can give you is my raw emotion and my reaction to what this means for fans, the implications it has for football fans. This isn't a show today where we're going to be talking about Arsenal Football Club necessarily. This is a show which is going to reflect the damage it's going to have on the wider society. I should ask actually before we start, James. Did you have a good birthday? I know it was a
I
couple of
did.
days ago.
I did. I had a good birthday. It was great. I spent it with family. Did some fun stuff. So yeah, I
Good.
had a good birthday. But this, oh mate. Ugh.
So, James,
Mm,
when did you actually hear? Because last, it was the news was released last night, and obviously, I
yeah.
only heard about it this morning when I woke up at 6 a.m. I fell asleep pretty early. I had a ram-packed day yesterday. Really was a very, very, very busy day, and I didn't have the energy or the time to catch up on football or anything like that. But when I woke up this morning at 6 a.m. for a piss, um,
Oh.
it really did hit me hard.
Yeah,
And
well,
I couldn't go back to sleep after that because I could not believe my eyes what I was
yeah.
seeing. My brother
Mhm.
spoke to me briefly about it yesterday, saying, "Oh, did you see what the European Super League members were saying about if they join, then potentially They could be banished from their domestic leagues, etc., etc. And I said, yeah, it's all hearsay, though. I saw there was a notification popped up on my phone that UEFA were condemning it anyway. So it was going to be all right. And we hear about reports like this that come about every couple of years where there's developments in the European Super League. Somebody makes a comment, someone from UEFA makes a comment, but ultimately, nothing really progresses.
No.
But today, the bombshell that we've been left with is one which is quite significant. When did you first hear about this news of
So
the European Super League?
I heard about it yesterday when it was first all being announced, when they made when I think it was the Athletic that found out first, and
Hmm.
then it went to Sky, then it went to all the other publications,
Hmm.
and they said there was going to be an announcement yesterday
Mm.
um, at 9:30. It was a little bit. It was a little bit after that because there was some live. I know Scott from the Red Cannon was doing a live stream. Mark Goldbridge was doing a live stream
Yeah.
about it in anticipation for the announcement, and it came, I think, just after 11:30. The official announcement um, came. It came from Fabrizio Romano, who's obviously a respected journalist. Then it came from Sky Sports. Then it came from Arsenal with the official statement, and I couldn't believe it.
Mm.
Um, I couldn't believe it. I've got in front of me the actual website for the Super League. I don't know if you've
Mm.
seen that.
No, I haven't.
Um,
Let's have a look.
they've actually got an actual Super League website. So if you go on the Arsenal statement, there's a little hyperlink. It's highlighted in red, and if you click that, it takes you to the Super League website,
Okay, yeah, yeah, I see it.
and it's
Wow,
just
unbelievable.
uh,
Wow.
it puts into perspective that this is actually happening, and that this is no joke, and this is just to
I
see Arsenal.
literally, the moment the website came up, my body just was filled with a rush of goosebumps.
Yep, yep, yep,
Um,
indeed.
I can't believe I can't believe this is happening. Um, talk to me a little bit, please, because I know I like to ramble on,
Yep.
on podcast episodes, but this one I don't really know how to approach any of this. I don't really know how to talk about this.
I
This
don't know
is
either.
yeah.
Yeah, I woke up this morning and I was just like, "What's the I know I've got to record a podcast. I know, but what are we going to talk about?" When you messaged me saying we're going to do an episode on the Super League, I was like, "Well, we're not going to do an episode on football, which we normally do." I
Mm,
was like, "What's the point?" But this takes preference today, and just to see the Arsenal and even Chelsea and other clubs and other English clubs being associated with this
mm.
is
So when did you actually find out that Arsenal were going to be an official founding member of the Super League?
Oh, I don't know exactly what time, but there was all Fabrizio Romano. I think in when
Mm,
he announced it, he said 12 clubs were gonna be in it, and Arsenal were gonna be one of them. And
yeah.
it's been widely banded around that Arsenal are going to be part of it for a long time. And today they finally announced it, or yesterday, should I say? And
Mm,
today they finally announced it, and it's just gonna open a can of worms, and the dominoes will fall, so to speak.
mm.
But is this is not
What,
what I signed up to football for.
Okay, yeah.
Let me put it there.
So
Yeah.
I want to know from your perspective how you feel about this and how you react to this, because everyone is going to have a different reaction and for different reasons. Everybody watches football for more or less different reasons, and they support a club for different reasons. I support Arsenal because I was born there, I was raised there. It was my local club. My family convinced me to support them. I used to go into non-school uniform days in primary school in full Arsenal kit. I was born and bred from top to bottom Arsenal. That's why I support it, because it's been in my community. It's what I've known. I don't know anything else other than Arsenal Football Club. You, on the other hand, might have a completely different reason. Someone up in Manchester might have a completely different reason. So tell me what this means for you personally,
So
and what it is that what how are you going to deal with this situation?
right now, I don't know. Right now, I have no clue whatsoever. But let me just give you a brief insight as to why I started supporting Arsenal. Obviously,
Mm,
I started supporting Arsenal religiously in maybe not as long as other people, but in 2014, I heard about Arsenal. I've heard about Arsenal because obviously my family supported it, my granddad supported it, my dad supported it, and I never really liked football.
mm,
But when I was playing FIFA,
Mm.
incidentally. And I was like, "Oh, all right, this Arsenal. I've heard about Arsenal. My dad supports Arsenal. This might be something I could do." And then I started playing as Arsenal on FIFA. Then I started looking up players on YouTube, and obviously you go down the rabbit hole of Thierry Henry and Arsene
Yeah.
Wenger, and and from that day on, it was all Arsenal. Everything was Arsenal. Obviously, I went to my first game in that year of 2014, which was the Emirates Cup, and
Mm.
then from then on,
Which game was
everything.
it, by the way, if you don't mind me asking you?
It was let me try. It was Arsenal versus Valencia, I think.
Oh, okay, okay, cool.
But from that day on, it's been Arsenal, and from that day on, I've based everything I do not around Arsenal. I base everything I wake up in the morning and think about. Oh, what are Arsenal doing? Are there any press conferences out, like etc. What like you know I've cancelled plans just to watch Arsenal games, as a lot of people have.
Mm.
I may not be the longest fan, but I am a fan, and of course, and it's just so gut wrenching to think that this could literally drive a wedge between the football we love and the team we love. But and there's even talk now. Jose Mourinho has been sacked from Tottenham. I don't know if this is a joke or
Yeah.
not. So,
No, no, he has. He's been sacked.
yeah, he's been sacked from Tottenham, but I don't know. There's a rumor going around that he I don't. There's a rumor going around that he is opposed to the Super League and didn't want to take the team out for training,
Mm.
so he was consequently sacked. And for
If that's the case, good on him.
yeah,
And I want to see more managers and more players taking that stand, because as much as the fans make football and make it for what it is, and as much as the Super League is, you know, the root of the Super League was birthed because of fans, we don't
mm,
have the power and influence as a unit to be able to do anything about it, because
no,
unfortunately we're too divisive, too many opinions. And if there's anyone, if there's any group of players, group of people who are going to be able to make a change, or who have the sphere of influence of potentially reversing this decision, it's going to be players and managers and
mm,
people within football. But let's start from the beginning. Okay,
yeah,
let's
mhm,
I think that's a good idea, in order to make sense of it, and in order to just I think try and, because right now I'm a bit shell shocked. I think
yeah,
most people are.
I am,
So in order to try and feel a little bit more, not not accept what's happened, but I just want to feel
you
a little
know,
bit better, you
yeah,
know.
you
So
want,
in order to feel a little bit better about it, let's start right from the beginning. And right from the beginning would be, um I think I don't want to go way back
no, I
to
think
when it was first introduced. I think the best place to start would be the statement that was released by Arsenal today.
yes,
That'll be the most appropriate place to start. So I'm going to read sort of one section at a time, and then
mhm,
we can react to it, and we can make comments on it
indeed,
as we progress. So it starts off by saying the European Super League announced. I genuinely can't believe this is on the Arsenal website. I can't believe I'm reading this. But
yep,
it says, we have joined 11 European clubs as founding members of a new midweek competition, the European Super League. There's lots more to do to bring the competition to life, and we will continue to update our supporters as things progress. More information can be found in a joint statement released by the founding clubs below. In the meantime, our focus is on finishing this season as strongly as possible. Why that would be your focus, I don't know, because it doesn't make any difference. You're in the Super League, whether you finish 10th, 11th, 5th, 20th, it doesn't matter. Okay? Because the way that
mhm,
I interpret the Super League is that you will be playing in that competition season in, season out, no matter where you finish. Um, but I digress. Let me not make any comments now. Let's start off by reading this statement made by the Super League. So, leading European football clubs announce new Super League competition. 12 of Europe's leading football clubs have today come together to announce they have agreed to establish a new midweek competition, the Super League, governed by its founding clubs. Already there is problems in that first paragraph. There are problems. Why? Because it's being governed by a third party who is not the UEFA or any other European body. It is specifically governed by the founding clubs. So we can see problems happening in the future with conflicts of interest, with how much voting rights each club has. If one host wins the competition, how much bearing does that have on the decision they get to make? Even the most minute decisions of state where the final is going to be held, or how much money will be distributed, etc., etc. What do you feel about the Super League being governed by the founding clubs, and the conflict it's going to have with UEFA?
I think it's an absolute car crash. If this goes ahead, UEFA will be dead.
Mm,
I don't think they'll be able to come back from that. Because you're taking the power away from the one of the biggest. All right, people don't have the best opinions of UEFA, but
mm,
you're taking the biggest like footballing asset in UEFA, who governs all these competitions, and then you're literally saying it doesn't matter anymore. We're gonna do it ourselves. And
mm,
people have put time and effort into making these competitions, what they are, depending on your opinion. But
mm.
and then you're just gonna rip it from underneath them.
Yeah.
Is that really what you want to do? People today, apparently Arsenal have left today. Have left the European Clubs Association. Manchester United have left it. So we're basically, as we speak, out of Europe altogether now. We're not. I've seen people say the Europa League's done, the Champions League's done. I've seen people say that PSG are going to be crowned champions today.
Mm,
It's just I don't understand. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. Is it? Are we going to be run like the NFL, like all the
mm,
American franchises, like the NBA? Because I know the NBA do something similar where they have all the clubs in one league and then they fight. But that's basketball.
mm.
That's not football. That's not. You don't want to try and franchise football, so to speak. You want to keep it. You want to keep it simple, and you want to keep the game that we love intact. But this is going in the. If you want to try and do something new, this is going the wrong way about it.
So apparently, according to Fabrizio Romano, Jose Mourinho's sacking is not linked to Super League, and he's never refused to take training today. He's been fired because of results and nothing else. I call bullshit, and
Yes.
it might not be the case that it's to do with the Super League. But I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something right now. This sacking of Jose, isn't it a bit convenient? Isn't it
Yes.
a bit convenient that the day the Super League is announced and the day Tottenham have been inaugurated into that list of founding members, isn't it a little bit convenient that Jose Mourinho is sacked the next day?
Yep.
Because what happens now is every single member gets a fat stack of dough to do whatever they please with it.
Yep.
And so, isn't it a little bit convenient that Jose Mourinho, who's been dragging Tottenham through the mud for the good part of 6 months at least, but Daniel Levy doesn't, for a second, doesn't think to do anything about that 6 months or 3 months or 2 months ago. But as soon as the European Super League is announced, the day after, Tottenham decide to fire Jose Mourinho,
But
someone who the fans have been calling for to leave for months.
but on the other hand, why would he sack him if the Super League is a league that you
Well,
can't get relegated from?
let's be honest. I think the reason why Daniel Levy was keeping Jose Mourinho is because of the amount of money that they had invested in him, and should they decided to sack him, then they needed to give him more money that they don't have. And we know that Jose Mourinho is a shoddy manager who hasn't really picked up from his glory days at Real Madrid, Inter Milan, Chelsea, because of the style of football that he plays. Very, very reserved, very boring, not very effective. And when you have managers like progressive managers like Pep Guardiola, Mikel Arteta to some extent, introducing new concepts, people like Jose Mourinho are always playing catch up, and
Yeah.
so I think that this was always probably planned. And this was something which, I mean, none of this was really planned a few days ago, because all of these decisions and all of these meetings and um, the Super League was decided in the last 2 days, in the weekend, because after following the news that UEFA were going to release their new structure, Champions League structure. So UEFA was supposed to release their developed their developed Champions League structure, which is based on the Swiss style, today.
Mm.
And because they found out about it, the clubs, they thought, right, we need to fast track this thing and we need to try and release this as quickly as possible so that we can drop this massive bombshell and stop the Champions League from having any detrimental impact on our plans, which is
Mm.
to start the European Super League. Let's carry on reading this statement. The second paragraph goes: AC Milan, Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, Chelsea, Barcelona, Inter Milan, Juventus, Liverpool, City, United, Madrid, Tottenham have all joined as founding clubs. It is anticipated that a further 3 clubs will join ahead of the inaugural season, which is intended to commence as soon as practicable. Now, as soon as practicable, I'm interpreting it as soon as things get back to normal, which means as soon as COVID restrictions are lifted, which means next season. Let's have a look at those list of teams that have been um, that are joining this Super League,
Mm-hmm.
and already off the bat, this is my own personal opinion and my reaction to it. There are 2 clubs in there who should never be part of this elite group. I mean, it's bad enough that they are forming an elite group. They're forming a private members club only, but to have members in there who haven't had a sniff of European glory is absurd, to say the
Mm-hmm.
least. Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspurs should not be anywhere near this group of teams. Nowhere near good enough to compete with them, number one. And I don't think they have the status anymore to put themselves in the same conversation as some of these clubs. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, we haven't obviously domestically we haven't had the best of seasons in a long while. I think this is the worst season we've ever had, or one of the worst. And obviously, we've not been in the Champions League for 6 years. And Tottenham haven't even won a league they haven't even won a trophy.
That's what baffles me. That's what really baffles me. Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, it's bad enough. It's bad enough Arsenal being there, and I understand they've been in 2 European Cup finals in the last decade. You know, they've won a European Cup Winners' Cup in '94. You know, I get all
We've
of
won
that.
FA
They have,
Cups.
yeah, they have some pedigree. They have some European pedigree. But to put Tottenham Hotspur in there, and this isn't coming from a place of rivalry, right? I mean,
No,
as much as I dislike Tottenham, today is a day where I don't dislike them at all because we're all in this together. But to have them there for me screams financial incentives. Screams financial incentives. I don't care how many times people can try and dress up this argument of, oh, it's all for footballing reasons. You know, this is all exciting, having all the best clubs playing
that is
against each
bullshit.
other. Bullshit. Absolute
Absolute bullshit.
bullshit. You can't have a team like Tottenham and a team like Arsenal in that conversation, in that bracket, playing alongside Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus, even
Every
City to
week.
some extent, every single week. No.
Shall I just read you? I don't know if you saw it. Shall I just read you the tagline, right? The
Yeah,
tagline for
go on.
the tagline for this Super League is the best clubs, the best players every week. So this is not just going to be something that we gloss over and have something happen like once a year. This is going to be every single week. You know, I just can't get my head around this. I cannot, for the life of me, understand logistically how it's going to work. And just as like a football fan, how it's going to work, how are we expected? Sorry if I'm going on a little rant, but this
No,
is
no, no,
what.
go.
How are we expected to, So it's going to be, I'm flying to Barcelona to see Arsenal play away from home every single week. How is that going to work? How is that going to work? Oh, I'm just popping to Barcelona to see Arsenal play in the Super.
Mm.
Like, how are we going to even logistically, make that happen? You're not, because people people have got. Are you expected for people? Are you going to get a Super League membership where you're able to enter countries just for games? I don't know. I have no idea how this is going to work, and I'm at a loss for words. Obviously, I woke up this morning thinking, how is this going to work? And it might be one of those things because I know people were the same when the Champions League was rebranded as well. But it might be one of those things that in like 10 years to come, we're like, oh, the Super League. We were all angry about it, but now it's turned into something that
But
could work.
you see the difference between a tournament like the Champions League and the Super League is that,
Yeah,
as well as both having heavy financial incentives, economic incentives for clubs who win and for clubs who make it, which does bridge that gap a little bit bigger between the poor teams, the average teams, and the elite teams. What it's always preserved, and this is a reason why I will never ever shit on the Champions League. It will always preserve competitiveness,
yeah,
football competitiveness, and it will always keep competition alive. What the Super League has done single handedly, and I don't know how they've managed to do this, but they have destroyed football competition
excuse me.
throughout every tournament
Hmm.
in Europe. The Premier League is screwed.
The
The
Premier League.
Europa League is screwed. The Champions League is screwed. All three tournaments, which fans look forward to watching whenever the season starts, we're buzzing when the fixture list comes out. But now,
Now
does the
it's just
Premier League mean anything anymore?
that's what people are
Because
saying. Yeah.
because if you have um if you have a European competition that allows 15 members year in year out to enter, no matter where they finish in the league, where's the incentive in finishing top 4? Where's the incentive in finishing top 5? That it doesn't mean anything anymore.
You know what the incentive? You know what the incentive could be, or
Go
will
on.
be, knowing the fact more money. I was going to swear then, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
More money for the owners and more money for the clubs. No, nothing. There'll be no incentives in terms of trophies and European qualification because we're not going to get relegated from it. It's like being in
Mm,
the. It's like literally, it's like being in the NBA. It
mm.
really is. It's like being in one of those American leagues like the NFL, the NFA, the NHL, and you just stay in there and you compete every single year. And yes, granted, I like the NBA because that format works. That format works, and you basically stay in the league, and then you can build it up and eventually get the NBA finals, but not football. Football is built on a league system and different leagues around the country, and you know how are you gonna even? It's just baffling. Have you even read about the numbers that are involved financially?
Sorry, say that again.
Have you even read about the numbers that have been involved financially? That the team.
Yes, I've read it. Yeah. I just haven't got to it yet. In the
Uh,
statement, but I have read it. Yeah,
I apologize
it's
for
just a
ranting, but
stupid amount. No, no,
I'm
no, no.
so
You have every right. You have every right.
yeah
Jake, Jacob makes a comment, and I want to read this out. So he says, the fact this idea is so detestable reeks of a more unseen agenda for a long term. This could be the subversive catalyst for the more equal football structure we really want around the world, because they know how unpopular this is with fans, players, and managers. Jacob, with all due respect, I can't see how this benefits football in the wider community. I can't, because once you start an elite members only club where football is going to be kept within these four walls or within that league table, you cannot tell me that you cannot tell me then the wider masses, the wider clubs, the average clubs in the Championship, League Two, League One, and the Premier League then have any incentive of playing football other than to make money. And if that's the case, if you're talking about making football more equal in terms of finances, fine, you win. But I don't watch football for financial incentives. I don't get paid to watch the sport. I watch it because it entertains me and it gives me something which I haven't found in anything else. It fills me with this passion and this connection that I haven't felt in anything else. And that is now being tarnished. Jacob continues to say, sorry, he says, exactly. It's so outrageous that it brings the whole cancer of monopolies into focus. And that's the plan for the near future. And I think this is something we've been seeing. It's been drip fed to us over the last few decades. I mean, it started off with the Premier League. And look, I've got no problems. I've got no issues whatsoever with football clubs, players, managers, owners making money from the sport. Your average Joes make money when they go down to the betting shop. I've got no problems with it. What I have a problem with is removing the concept of competition, removing the concept of a competitive nature where one team can beat another and they can achieve something. There is an incentive to winning. That incentive has been destroyed. What's the point of watching football anymore?
No.
What does it? What are we hoping for when we're watching a Premier League game? When Arsenal played against Fulham yesterday, there was a possibility that if Arsenal beat Fulham, we could potentially get closer, close that gap between Everton and Tottenham, and maybe creep into fifth, maybe even fourth. But all that now has. I mean, when we play against Everton on Friday, what are we watching it for? We're watching a 90-minute game for 22 players to kick a ball around and see who can score the more goals. What context? What context does it bring? The Europa League against Villarreal next Thursday. Do you think I
don't
give a
even know.
damn? Do you think I give a damn whether Unai Emery or Arteta wins? No, not anymore. Because when it boiled down to it, I was more interested to see Arsenal lift the Europa League so they can then be entered to the Champions League and then potentially build from there. But now that they've fast tracked their way into the Super League, now that they've cut their corners and they've paid their way into this elite group, what does it matter?
You are entirely correct. I tweeted some stuff yesterday from, I don't know how true this is, but the AFC newsroom tweeted Arsenal banned from the UEFA competition. Europa League campaign is done.
So when was this? Because I've been seeing tweets like this for the good part of this morning. I don't know how accurate it is.
No, I don't know.
When can you just tell me when they released that tweet?
It was 11 hours ago. At 12:23.
Yeah, because sorry, mate. Yeah, I was just gonna say because I've been reading stuff like that as well. But until I see some official bit of news, I'm not gonna buy it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it's a strong possibility. Aiden's got another question. Not question. Sorry, another comment says morning. Would ask how we are, but no, we're feeling the same from 10 seconds of entry. Hope you're both good nonetheless. Thank you very much, Aiden. I don't think I'll ever feel the same way again. Personally, I don't quite know where we go from here as a fan base and as a club. And we've been screaming about this issue because it boils down to who owns our football club and clubs actually, and what their incentives are. What do they want from us?
I mean, Stan Kroenke would be loving this right now because he's a vice chairman, right?
Yes, yeah, I do, yeah.
Of this whole thing. So I don't know if I can get it up, but apparently we have vice chairmans, and the chairman is the Florentino Perez, who is obviously the president of Real Madrid, and then you've got John W. Henry, which is the owner of Liverpool. He's a vice chairman. You have the Juventus president. He's a vice chairman, and all these people are vice chairman. And there's one thing that they love. It's money.
Money.
They don't want anything to do with. They don't want anything to do with the sport or the love of football, shall I say? And they're killing it. They are absolutely killing it. And Stan Kroenke will be, oh, I'm loving this because I get more money, and I can make money out of this thing that I potentially saw as a investment. Like he didn't come to Arsenal to win trophies apparently. So the trophies we've been winning have just been like a little incentive to him and grown into more money. But that is a whole different thing. I know we speak about Kroenke out, Kroenke in now as a football club and in the Premier League, but does that even matter now? No, because we he's a vice chairman of this league, and I really don't know. Today is not going to be a good day for football. and
Yeah, genuinely, I really don't know how to feel about this whole situation. I'm gonna continue talking, reading on,
yeah.
reading
Also,
this statement. Yeah, go on, mate.
I've got something. I tweeted something yesterday from the Madrid zone. He's like, I think he's around Madrid. This
Yeah,
is, I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know if this is true, but this came out 8 minutes ago. Um, the Super League clubs will not be kicked out of from this season's European competitions. Real
Mm,
Madrid, Chelsea, and Manchester City will compete in the Champions League, and Manchester United and Arsenal will compete in the Europa League. So there are conflicting reports as to what's happening, but again, we have to wait until something concrete is set in stone. But you can
mm.
continue because I really don't know what to say. This is just,
Yeah,
um,
I'm feeling numb. I mean,
yes.
I genuinely didn't believe in my wildest of dreams that I would be sitting here talking about something as impactful as this. This is going to have so consequences in the game. Um,
Mm. I'm just looking now. I've got scarves on my bed, right? Like Arsenal scarves on my bed. The Emirates FA Cup final. That's not going to happen now ever because we're going to be kicked out of that if that eventually does happen. And all these memories that we've made of Arsenal, all these memories. Granted, I've been an Arsenal fan for quite a short time compared to the rest of us, but all these memories we've made is just gonna go. It's just going to be tarnished, and then be expected to um, follow along with what they have to say because it's your club, you love your club, so you must love the Super League. You know what I mean?
mm, mm,
It's
yeah.
it's it's going to be interesting. It's going to be
Mm.
interesting.
So yeah, let me continue reading on from where I left
I
off.
didn't get that. Could you try?
Oh, is that yes? Yeah, sorry,
Yes.
I didn't get that either, mate. Trust me, I'm having one of those mornings. It's yeah, it goes on to say, going forward, the founding clubs look forward to holding discussions with UEFA and FIFA to work together in partnership to deliver the best outcomes for the new league and for football as a whole. The
Mm.
formation of the Super League comes at a time when the global pandemic has accelerated the instability in the existing European football economic model. Further, for a number of years, the founding clubs have had the objective of improving the quality and intensity of existing European competition throughout each season and of creating a format for top clubs and players to compete on a regular basis. Discuss.
Discuss.
Uh, mm,
I really don't. The first thing I'd say is obviously you always knew the pandemic would be not the focal point, but the reason why they could potentially get away with
yeah, it's
what
an
they're trying
excuse.
to do. It's an excuse, yeah. Oh, the pandemic started, so we're trying to get more money by doing this. But no, it's just not going to work. I'm interested to get your opinion on this. If the Super League does go ahead, yeah, will
Mm.
you still be supporting Arsenal Football Club?
This is the thing, mate. This is the thing that I mean. Look,
Because
I
I'm
don't know.
undecided at the minute. I'm undecided.
I don't know where my mind is at the minute, and I'm in a position right now where I don't. I never in my wildest dreams thought I'd be sitting here and so mind boggled. I mean, I can't bring myself to the point where I'm questioning my loyalty to the football club that I've fallen in love with for forever. Because for me, it wasn't an objective decision. It wasn't something that I had to sit and think about whether I support this team or not. It was something which is ingrained into me from when I was so young. I mean, Arsenal Football Club has been part of my life. I mean, this is a lot more to do with football, to be honest, because where I was born, in Islington, literally down the road from the Emirates, growing up, it has been really in all different aspects of my life. In terms of my education, I was part of something called the Double Club. The Arsenal Double Club was a foundation which helped to develop skills of young people. So in primary school, I was part of that, and I did 6 or 7 IT courses with them. At the end, they took us out to the Emirates to have a nice tour, met up with Charlie George, and we had some footballing sessions as well. And then later down the years, as I grew older a little bit, just down the road from my house, Arsenal built a AstroTurf. Where I grew up, it was quite rough. It was in a block of flats, and there were quite a fair bit of, you know, gang culture and all that kind of stuff, drug related issues. And the park where they built the AstroTurf was known for, you know, littering dead bodies. And you know, that's what it was like where I was growing up. But Arsenal, it was Robin van Persie and Dennis Bergkamp who were at the forefront of building this AstroTurf in that area, and that transformed my local area. It gave young people the chance to go and play football. Arsenal coaches would come every Thursdays, I think, and hold training sessions for younger kids. And so when I talk about Arsenal Football Club, I'm not just talking about a club who plays football. I'm talking about an establishment that has really been ingrained in the core of my life. So I can't come to a position, I can't bring myself to even fathom the thought of questioning whether I support the club or not, or whether I'm a fan of the club or not. And I sit here and I'm so bewildered, bemused by what's happened today, because I can't now for the life of me support the team and the football aspect of things. When I watch a game of football anymore, I don't think I can bring myself to support the 11 players playing, because I know it's not right and I know they have not warranted to win that game. For as long as they are in this Super League, they do not have a right to win any football match, because the repercussions of winning that game, the 3 points they earn or progressing into the next round of whatever competition they're in, will not have been deserved. The money that they're going to get, the kickstart that they're going to get, the debt that's going to be wiped off the club, the money that's going to go into the owner's pocket, the money that they're going to get to spend to get in new reinforcements, are all going to be unfairly used and unjustified. There is no justification for them to build on anything as long as they're in this European competition. Whereas a team like Leicester City, who won the Premier League fair and square, who are now in the FA Cup final fair and square, they are the perfect representation of the beauty that comes out of football, of why fans are so invested in this sport, is because of situations that happen to teams like Leicester and teams like Leeds as well, and maybe teams like Brentford. And let's not forget about Bournemouth. Teams who scrap, who work so hard, tirelessly, who have goals and objectives that might be so far-fetched, but they can still dream and hope that one day they'll make it into the promised land. Say what you will about the Premier League. Say what you will about the pot of money that's given to the teams that finish at the top end. But you can never take away the competitive nature of it. You can never take away the hope from teams like MK Dons, Brentford, Bournemouth, Leeds United. You can never take away their hope of one day reaching the Premier League and one day building on that foundation. But what the Super League has now done, it's destroyed any bit of hope from all clubs around Europe that one day they will be able to build on something, build on a foundation, and maybe establish themselves the way Leicester have. Because let's be honest now, Leicester are finished.
Yeah, and they just got to an FA Cup final.
There is no way Leicester are going to be able to build on what Arsenal, Chelsea, City, Liverpool, Tottenham, and United are going to build on. No way. So where does that put Leicester? Where does that put a team like Everton?
I don't know.
This is the crux of the problem here. It's not that, Arsenal have unfairly, or it's not even the fact that, it's not fair to have a competition that has all the best teams. It's what happens to those that are left behind. Sorry, mate, do you need to go and take that phone call?
I will just call him back and then I'll you can continue speaking. Just speak about the statement and I'll be back.
Yeah. No worries.
Thank you.
So yeah, this is the conflicting sort of part of it. There is being a selfish fan and being happy the fact that we've been entered into this quite elite league, this elite group. You know, there was never in my mind a doubt that Arsenal were an elite club, but something that means more to me than just status is character and what your club represents. And something that I've always loved about Arsenal, I've always stuck, I've always invested so heavily into them, isn't the trophies that they've won, isn't the football, the beautiful football that they've developed to play under Arsene Wenger and now under Mikel Arteta. It's staying true to who they are and being the club for the people and not stepping out of line, doing things the right way, doing things the Arsenal way. And the Arsenal way has always been represented as the right way. You know, we've always been described as this classy team, a classy club, a club that does things differently, does things, paves the way for others, a club where other clubs look up to. If there's one club, one that I expected to not be part of this, to revolt, it's Arsenal Football Club. And they've let me down. They've really let me down today. Peter has a comment and says, football clubs use the name of their towns and cities with the permission of the local council. If council decided it no longer wants Liverpool FC to bear its name. If Liverpool Council decides it no longer wants Liverpool FC to bear its name. It's true, and in Arsenal's case, it's even more rare and it's even more unique because Arsenal don't really belong anywhere. They started in Woolwich, they moved over to North London, and they've kept that name Arsenal, which derived from Dial Square, where they were formed in a factory making weapons, and now the classy side, who we once knew, who once represented our expectations, has now sold us down the toilet bowl. Welcome back, James. I'm just going to continue. I'm going to continue reading on the next bit of the statement. So it says, the pandemic has shown that a strategic vision and a sustainable commercial approach are required to enhance value and support for the benefit of the entire European football pyramid. No, I'll tell you what the pandemic has shown. The pandemic has shown that a number of elite clubs have lost billions or millions of pounds, euros, dollars, and now need something desperately in order to maintain their position in society and in football. This is why the European Super League has now been introduced, because the fact of the matter is that they can't have the world's football, Real Madrid's president, whatever the hell his name is, Ramon Perez, have I got that right? Florentino Perez. Florentino Perez cannot have Real Madrid sinking low into the averages. He can't. And that's why the European Super League is so important, because if you thought the amount of money that they're getting is bad because of how much it is, you're going to want to hold on to whatever you've got to find out why it is they're receiving so much. But we'll get into
so
that.
much as well.
Yeah, it is. It's in the billions. It's in the billions. Go on, mate.
Yeah, it's absolutely it's an astronomical number of a sum of money to. So we talked about getting a billion for even, or something like 1.2 billion for even being in the thing. I don't know.
Yeah, there's different numbers being shouted out everywhere. I mean, so I'll read the paragraph where it talks about the economic side of these. It says these solidarity. In fact, let me just read on from Okay, so this is from the beginning of the actual financial breakdown of things. So the new annual tournament will provide significantly greater economic growth and support for European football via a long-term commitment to uncapped solidarity payments. Uncapped solidarity payments is I don't know how much more clear you need it to be, and I really the nerve to write it without dressing it up and making it sound a little bit more fair is unbelievable. I cannot for the life of me believe what I'm reading. I mean, not only have they written uncapped solidarity payments, it's as if they have no shame. There is no shame at all for what they're telling us. They're telling us here in black and white that the money that is going to be distributed to these clubs is going to be uncapped, and it's going to be because they will be involved. So for as long as you are in the European Super League, we will pay you an uncapped amount of money, which will grow in line with, it later says, which will grow in line with league revenues. And then we really get into the nitty-gritty bit of the statement, which says these solidarity payments will be substantially higher than those generated by the current European competition. So as to say, as what, you want to be in the Champions League, really? Okay, fine, you can stay in the Champions League, but I tell you what, you won't be receiving a tenth of what we're going to be offering. So if you want that little bit extra, come over where the grass is greener. That's exactly what that says.
Yep.
Um,
And we spoke about.
yeah,
Go
go
on.
mate.
No,
go on.
we've spoke about things with Manchester City with their spending of however much they like to spend on defenders and stuff like that, and how much money they spend in general. And you're really gonna, let that happen in the Super League and let anyone spend whatever they want to without any sort of regulation? Nah, that's not cool. That's not what we signed up for as football fans, I'm afraid. As in the money side of it, and the greed. I'd like to point out. I've seen on Twitter, Mesut Ozil's just come out and said something about it. All these players of teams are now coming out and saying something which could be detrimental to their National League careers. Apparently, if we join this league, they could be banned from UEFA and all these other
listen,
rumors that are
there's
going
all
around.
sorts of repercussions that are going to be happening, and it's only a matter of time before we find out the ins and outs and what's going to be happening. Listen, Leeds versus Liverpool tonight, a big game for whatever occasion, is going to be very interesting to see how players react, how teams react. But let me talk about more on the money side of things. So it says here that these solidarity payments will be substantially higher than those generated by the current European competition and are expected to be in excess of 10 billion euros during the course of the initial commitment period of the clubs. So who knows what the initial commitment is, how many years it is, whether it's a season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons, but 10 billion euros to be distributed amongst 15 clubs. Let's do the maths right now. Let's do 10 billion divided by 15, which gives you 0.66667. So if my maths is right, which usually it isn't, I don't know how many millions that is actually. That's really wow, that was very bad. I should have just Googled it instead of doing it on my calculator. 10 billion divided by 15 gives you 6.667. How many sixes is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that 9? Is that 666 million?
I'm not really good at math, so I wouldn't. You would have to do that by yourself.
It's a ridiculous amount. It's a stupid amount of money. And the next bit breaks it down even more. So it says in addition, meaning more than that, plus added on to that, the competition will be built on a sustainable financial foundation, with all founding clubs signing up to a spending framework. In exchange for their commitment, founding clubs will receive an
Excuse me.
amount, bless you, founding clubs will receive an amount of 3.5 billion
Oh my god.
euros solely to support their infrastructure investment plans and to offset the impact of COVID pandemic. This is a brilliant segue to bring in the infamous Swiss Ramble. If you don't know about Swiss Ramble,
I
you should
do know
already.
about Swiss
Yep,
Ramble.
perfect. Swiss Ramble, the famous Twitter account that releases Arsenal's, mainly Arsenal's financial reports, and they have released here that here we go. Here's a clue as to why 12 clubs have signed up for a European Super League. They lost a combined £1.2 billion in 2019-20 before player sales. And that was for a season where only the last 3 months were impacted by COVID. Another tweet and some graphs show if we include other debt, such as the amount owed to staff, tax authorities, suppliers, and other creditors, the total debt of the 12 clubs signing up to the European Super League is a staggering £7.4 billion. So that further strengthens my argument that the reason why this European Super League was so fast tracked and has been created this year post COVID is to try and clear that debt and maintain their position in the world of football.
Yeah. But then they could have just done that in other ways with the Premier League and other competitions instead of starting their own one.
Well, this is what I don't understand. I don't understand why they didn't just develop the Champions League. Why they didn't. I mean, if there's this is as clear as day. No one can tell me. No one can give me any other excuse, any other justification for why the Super League was created, other than it being for financial gain. That's it.
Mhm.
There
Yep.
is nothing more to speak about this European League, this Super League, other than this bullshit, right, on the Super League website saying the best clubs, the best players every week. Bullshit.
I
I
don't
don't.
know. The fact that they've even gone as far as to make a website for this thing is just.
But did they think that fans are going to be this naive? The fans are going to be this stupid? Do they think that only 12-year-olds watch football? With all due respect to 12-year-olds.
I actually thought to myself that this is. I actually had to, look at the date again because it's like I've gone back to April Fool's Day. I thought, is this an April Fool's joke or what? And they just saved it up. Is it a timed tweet that they forgot to release on the day?
When I woke up this morning and my brother sent me a a post on Instagram. He shared it to me, and I'm gonna pull it up now because I genuinely thought this was a joke. I mean, I thought, how naive can you be? It says here, Arsenal News Hub on Instagram released breaking news: the Europa League and Champions League have been temporarily cancelled. There's a growing feeling that PSG will be crowned Champions League winners, and the Europa League final will be between Villarreal and Roma, eliminating all the sides left in both competitions who have entered the European Super League. When I read this, I thought this has to be a meme. This has to be a joke. And then I saw that it was reported by Arsenal News Hub, and I thought, okay, this is a little bit fishy. And then I got into reading about this whole Super League and how official it's become. Because when we first heard about this Super League, and like I said, this has been drip fed to us, it's all hearsay. It's all sort of Wikipedia research. I mean, only I think a couple of years ago, I did a Wikipedia search just to see, what this was all about and whether this was actually happening. And the impression that I got was that the Super League was an idea that some people were thinking of, but it was never really going to catch on because there wasn't enough traction. And all of a sudden, in the last 48 hours, it's become a reality. It's become a reality, a real reality. Let's have a look at the actual breakdown of the competition, because I have to say, the competition format itself is quite good. 20 participating clubs, 15 founding clubs, and a qualifying mechanism for the further 5 teams to qualify annually based on achievements. How vague can you get? Don't really know what achievements they're on about, but some sort of achievement in the prior season. Midweek fixtures with all participating clubs continuing to compete in their respective national leagues, preserving the traditional domestic match calendar, which remains at the heart of the club game. It will start in August, so very early on, with clubs participating in 2 groups of 10. So it'll be 2 league tables, very similar to MLS actually, playing home and away, with the top 3 in each group automatically qualifying for the quarterfinals, and then teams finishing in the 4th and 5th will then compete in a 2-legged playoff for the remaining quarterfinal stages. After that, it's a 2-leg knockout format, which will be used to get to the final in May. Yeah, it's very similar to MLS, and it's it's become so Americanized, hasn't it?
Yeah, yes. Like
And
as I was
yeah,
saying, you only have to look at the NFL, the NBA, and it's clear to see that the American owners have gone. You know what? Why don't you steal an idea from us and like use the way that the American sports are run? And as you said, the MLS is run very similarly as well.
and
Yeah,
can I just say, with all due respect to any Americans who might watch this, who might come across
yeah,
this,
yeah.
the MLS is dog shit. And the reason why it's dog shit is because there is no incentive. There is no relegation. There is no promotion. There is no incentive on playing well. If your team plays crap for one season, you can kick back and say, oh, well, there's always next season. And with the draft picks that they've got as well, is ludicrous. This isn't football. And the reason why we are so outraged is because hundreds of years of history is being destroyed.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, it was the fact that you just said no disrespect to Americans, and then you just proceeded to call their league dog shit, and it was
It
funny.
is dog shit. I mean, what more do you want me to say about it? You cannot have how they like to call it, a soccer division, a soccer league that tries to replicate what is being done in Europe, and then to put your own twist on it by making the format you have. Soccer is a soccer of football, and I'm gonna call it football. Football, the sport itself, the reason why it's one of, or if not the biggest sport in the whole world, is because of the way that it's been continued to play regularly without making any drastic changes for hundreds of years. You start implementing bullshit, this like different formats like that. There's a reason why the MLS is never going to catch on, and it hasn't
Could
caught on,
you
and I don't think it will catch on because it's Americanized itself. It's made
could you
itself.
imagine?
Yeah, go on.
Could you imagine it? Because there are teams supposedly coming into this league. Could you imagine if the MLS just decides to just join the Super League?
It,
Oh
it
my god!
it's a possibility. It is a strong I mean, I don't think they will, because it's a European Super League, but then you can have a global Super League, and
Yeah,
where does it end?
you could have different league. We could like be making our own like little league pyramid where you have like global leagues, then you have your
Hmm.
your European Super League, then you have But do we really want? I don't think I want that.
I
I'm
don't
very
know.
under. I'm very undecided whether I will. Well, it's so easy to say right now whether I will still be supporting Arsenal, but well, I will always support Arsenal because that's what I've known.
Hmm.
But not like this. I've seen Mark Goldbridge
Not
go.
like
I
this.
won't.
Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah.
Mark Goldbridge go. I won't support Manchester United like this.
No, absolutely not. When I sit down to watch, and this is what I want to happen to Arsenal, should they enter, should this proceed, and should the first game be played, and I see Arsenal against whoever it is on my TV, this is what I want happening to them. I want them to be relegated from the Premier League, and I want them to suffer financial implications. I want them to suffer so much so that they have to sell the Emirates and play on a training pitch. That's how much I want Arsenal Football Club to suffer if they go towards this direction. And I will follow them. I will follow them until the cows come home. But what I will not do is support this and support for 90 minutes, support a game of football playing against the side who don't have this type of advantage.
But
And
also,
this is, yeah, go on.
also, I don't want to play devil's advocate, but this was when they changed the format of when they first introduced the Champions League. This is the type of fallout that they had. So maybe in
Say
a
that
few
again.
years,
Sorry, say that again.
So when they first introduced like the Champions League and took out the European Cup a long time ago,
Yeah,
this was the kind of format. This was the kind of fallout that they had. Everyone was against it. But in a few years, this might be something that we go, oh, what are we moaning about? This is actually fantastic, and it could grow into something something good, but I doubt it.
Yeah, but James, look, like I said, I understand that, and I get why people are making those type of justifications for it. But where the Champions League and the Premier League, when they evolved, the one thing that wasn't taken away was competition.
Yeah.
You don't have competition in the European Super League. It is an exclusive members club only. There are 5 teams in Europe who can make it into the the Super League. 5. The other 15, they're there season in, season out. There are no repercussions. There are no consequences for losing games. They know they will be there, and they know they will be given that pot of money season in, season out. The Champions League, on the other hand, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee you'll be in the Premier League. This season, we were talking about the potential of Arsenal being relegated into the Championship this season. So when people say, this could be a good thing, we're finally getting to see the best clubs in our. And do you know what makes these fixtures so special? Where you get when we get to watch your Barcelonas versus Real Madrids, or your Arsenals versus your Bayern Munichs, as much as we hate to see it, they happen once in a blue moon, and they happen in brilliant circumstances in knockout football. It's not league. It's very rare that you'll get 2 of the big teams being drawn up in a group stage. And if that does happen, great. But imagine it happening season in, season out. Every year, Arsenal, Real Madrid twice. Every year, Arsenal, Barcelona twice.
Yeah,
It removes that spark. It removes that magic.
I'd just like to reiterate, I'm not for this in any way. I'm just putting out the question.
Sure.
As to whether, but I totally agree. Like, when you were saying, you when you sit down and watch Barcelona and all these other teams, for instance, Leicester were in the Champions League a couple of years ago, and I think they played at Atletico Madrid. That will never happen. That wasn't seen to happen. And when we all sat down, we were like, "Oh, it's a small team against a big team. Look how far they've come." But now it's just going to be like, "Oh, well, doesn't matter. We can't get relegated. We'll always be in this league." So.
And what are the implications for the Champions League and the Europa League? Who qualifies for the Champions League and the Europa League? Because if Arsenal, Tottenham, United, Liverpool, Spurs, I already said Spurs. I've lost count of how many teams. We've got 6 British teams in the Super Cup. And sorry, in the Super League. So what does that mean for the Champions League?
For God's sake.
What teams? If the top 6 teams aren't allowed or don't compete in the Champions League, you're then left with the second 4 teams. And let me just pull up the Premier League table so we can see what teams are going to be playing in the Champions League next season.
According to Sky Carvey on Sky 6 minutes ago, he has been told by a board member at one of the 6 Premier League clubs involved in the Super League that several board members across all of the clubs are unhappy about it. But then one of them says that they will do whatever they need to do to compete in it.
Okay, and we can take a wild guess as to who that is. If there's going to be anyone to say those kind of words, I bet your bottom dollar is going to be Stan Kroenke. I mean, the man is hated globally for who he is and for what he represents. But in terms of Premier League, as it stands, you'll have Leicester, West Ham, Everton, and Leeds in the Champions League next season, as it stands. This is where we are. This is the reality, guys. This is what we're gonna have to put up with. A Champions League tournament that we have honored. Whenever the Champions League game comes around, it is something the world tunes in for. Now, what does that happen? What happens to it now? What happens to it next season?
I don't know.
The status of the Champions League has been destroyed.
Tarnished in 24 hours.
In 24 hours, absolutely, yeah.
24 hours. 24 hours have gone by, and European competitions are potentially, I don't know if they're being stopped because I think we'll have this one. But what happens after that? Are they just going to be Are they just going to be, redundant? Are they just not going to? Are we? It's just so many questions that I can't begin to answer. On that thing that Sky Carve said, he actually said that the board members are unhappy about the decision, but they
Hmm.
won't. They do not believe they have the power to stop it.
Hmm.
And I bet that's because of all the money that's involved. And
Oh, absolutely. There's no other. Like I said, there is no other justification, and there is no other explanation for why the European Super League has come about, other than the fact that it's to do with money, which just it stresses what these clubs care about. They don't care about football. I can't watch these teams play football anymore the way that I used to. I can't watch an Arsenal game and say, this is a football inside that plays great football. I can't make comments about Arsenal playing football anymore. Do you know what this does to fans like me? I can't analyze Arsenal playing football anymore. Because at the back of my mind, I know there is no incentive. There is no motivation to win that game.
Take today, for example, in your message to me this morning, you were like, "Oh, there's no point in discussing the Fulham game because football's dead."
That's it. There is.
And that is
what point? What can we say about that 97th minute goal?
I love this podcast, and I've loved I've loved doing it so far. But I felt the same. What is the point in discussing Fulham when you don't know what's around the corner? And all this is happening. What is the point in discussing as you said, our 97th minute goal when it could all be in tatters come, however, and they want to start it as soon as practicable. So it's not going to be in a few years. It's going to be imminent, I would think.
Yeah, I'd think so from this August that they will start. I mean, plans are in motion now. They're probably working behind the scenes as we speak to get things happening. Once they start, surpassing the legal stuff, because I'm sure UEFA are going to have a go at trying to stop this, and good luck to them. And, they're partly to blame as well. The FFP scandal has been something that we have been screaming for years and years and years. And this boils down to the simple fact that our football clubs should never have been bought by billionaire oligarch rulers. Like billionaires like Abramovich, Sheikh Mansour, Kroenke, the Glazers, should never ever have come within 100 miles of our football clubs, and that's where it started. This is where it started, because now these clubs, because they're owned by these individuals who have no interest in football, all they're interested in is money, flexing their status and flexing their financial prowess and building whatever they need to build, another name on their portfolio. This is it. The fans are now at a crossroad where you watch football for the sake of watching football, or you do something about it. That's it.
Yeah.
We have two decisions to make here. We can do something about it and try our very hardest as a unit, as a global fan base, to stop this from happening, or you accept it, you carry on, and you allow this abomination to take place.
I'm just thinking, how are we even gonna, what are the rules even gonna be of football now? Because are they gonna be able to get like VAR in? Are they gonna be able to get like referees? Like, they're not gonna be able to get like Premier League referees because the Premier League are against it. And all these associations that deal with referees, that deal with managers, that deal with players, they're all against this. So how are we even gonna?
You know what? I'd love to hear what Arteta's got to say about this, and I'd love to hear what players have got to say about this as well.
Arteta is probably I can't speak for. He was asked in his press conference and said, "Oh, I don't know anything about it." Are you sure? Are you sure Are you sure you don't know anything? Of course, I would say he does, because there's no reason. There's no reason. As someone said yesterday, I don't want the manager sacked. I'm not Arteta in or Arteta out. I'm actually Arteta in. But any I don't care about that now, because this is not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We were 15th at a time last season when everyone was calling for the manager to sacked, right? He didn't get sacked, and now coincidentally a few months later this comes around. Where a league you can't get relegated from, there's no consequences if you do badly, and
Mm.
you're kept in a job. So he must have thought, oh, I'm saying, we don't need to
Yeah.
sack Arteta because he'll be safe anyway when this comes around. And what will happen now?
You make a
Yeah,
good point. You make a
yeah.
very good point.
What will happen
Uh,
now is when you're last in the league, they'll probably sack a manager, but then bring a new manager in. You won't get relegated. You won't get relegated from it. You'll just it's just I'm at a loss for any sort of. It will take me a couple of days to really get my head around
I
the.
don't know if I can ever get over this because what I don't think people quite understand why we watch football. Like,
No,
we watch football because there
we
is
love it.
always an element of you love to see an underdog win, don't you?
Yeah,
Doesn't
I
matter.
used to
Yeah,
go
go on.
ahead. Yeah, I love football. Me and my dad. I'm talking about football like it's dead, but it literally is dead. I can't speak about it any other way apart from the way I'm speaking about it. I used, I go to the Emirates and I used to go with my dad and we used to make a day of it. But now, what's gonna happen? There's gonna be games abroad, it seems, and all these different. Oh, I just don't know. I just don't know. And this is probably the most unorganized I've been on a podcast. I'm sorry.
Mm. No, okay.
I apologize to you for that as well. But
No, no,
I
no.
just
This is it's more important for fans to be able to express how this is making them feel rather than knowing the ins and outs. Like me, I've read a few articles here and there. This morning, I've up until this morning, I was clueless to it. But this like I said, it's the repercussions of what this decision brings.
yeah.
It's not that there are going to be 15 elite clubs playing in a competition. I've got no problems with 15 clubs, 15 of the best clubs playing in a competition to win a trophy. It's like I said, it's what happens to everyone else. It's what happens to the sport. It's the elite mentality, and this is a clear representation of that. It can't be any more clearer. In that statement, Florentino Perez says that we will help football at every level and take it to its rightful place in the world. Football is the only global sport in the world with more than 4 billion fans, and our responsibility as big clubs is to respond to their desires. Well, I'm sorry, you've got this absolutely wrong. Our desires isn't to watch the best teams play. Our desires is to watch two footballing teams play for a purpose. And now there is no purpose to a football match anymore. The
Hmm.
moment you start the Super League, the moment purpose dies.
It's
Because what's
literally
the end goal?
yeah. It's literally like an Emirates Cup tournament. Arsenal do this Emirates Cup tournament where
Yeah.
you have teams you have teams that battle it out over a few days. But this is what it's going to become. There's going to be a winner every single time. There's going to be no, because most likely I remember a few years ago where we went to an Emirates Cup. We went to an Emirates Cup tournament,
Mm,
and we were shit. Arsenal were shit, but they
mm.
still managed to win the whole entire tournament.
Yeah. But it doesn't matter, does it? You go there as on a day out to just enjoy football, just to the experience.
Yeah,
Now, what's happened is the competitiveness of the game has been eradicated. I mean, let's have it right. The teams in the Super League will be competitive and will want to win that to again further flex their superiority in Europe. But for like I said, for average fans that are watching, for not average fans, for super fans like me and you, for fans who really follow Arsenal and who really want the best for the club, not just a tournament, not just a football match, but we look 5-10 years down the line. We look at different angles of things. But
yeah,
what the Super League has done now, it has given casual fans now more opportunities to enjoy football. And
yeah,
I don't know how to feel about that because the way that I interpret football is a way to sit down, enjoy the sport, but also allow it to fill you with different emotions that you might not have felt elsewhere. Anxiety, excitement, all the drama and stuff. I don't think there are that many fans around the world who just sit down casually, turn the TV on, and just watch a game of football just for the sake of it. You know?
no, You either watch football because you love it or you don't. And
Yeah.
you watch Arsenal because you obviously, with your story, you grew up, you live near the club and you grew up loving the club and your family loves the club. Other than that, there's no reason to watch football. I'm just
So
seeing now that
yeah, go on.
Porto have rejected the invitation to join the Super League. That is confirmed. So
Okay.
Porto won't be joining the Super League.
Hmm.
You see people, people are. This is the thing, I mentioned it yesterday. Actually, this is becoming a joke now. Even clubs like Bolton Wanderers are going, "Oh, I'm not joining the Super League." It's
Hmm.
becoming.
Hmm.
They've woken up this morning and become an absolute laughing stock. Not only as us fans, other clubs in similar leagues have been making jokes about it. It's
Hmm.
ridiculous. It's just like one big April Fool's joke. Oh, let's just make a big day of it and have a joke. But it's not. This is seriously not funny because it's actually happening.
Hmm.
They
There's
have
a
actually,
comment.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Sorry.
There's a comment here from Hendon Guna that says the wider good of the game is secondary. As owners, it's about maximizing our profits and raising our global revenues. Quote from a European Super League board member. All about the Benjamins.
It is, yeah. I literally have no. I I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. I really don't. And we have a game on Friday.
Yeah,
Arsenal
yeah,
Football Club have a game in the Premier League on Friday. What does it matter now?
yeah. I
If
don't
this
know.
is if this is going to go ahead, what does it matter?
Hmm.
If I really, I don't
So,
know.
what do you think? What do you think is going to happen? Um, in terms of the Super League.
Well, if they're pushing for it and they they because I think it will happen. I know the Prime Minister Boris Johnson's come out and said he vows to stop it,
Hmm.
but they haven't really gotten. They haven't really got up until now. I don't know. You may know more than me, but they haven't really got involved in the footballing side of things and the forcing upon consequences and stuff like that, and been involved in football like that. So if they can stop it, great. But they haven't been able to stop anything until now. So what makes me think that they'll stop this one?
I don't really know if there's anything more that I want to touch on this.
No, I didn't. I don't know.
We've spoken about it for a while now, and like I said, this stuff continues to
Come out.
unfold.
Yeah.
It continues to progress, and
It's a really dark day. It's a really dark day for football and the wider
it is
community.
it is because I don't Jose Mourinho sacked today, and if it was any other day, I'd be screaming with delight. But
But
it doesn't bother me anyway at all.
I think. Well, they can say it's all about results, but they can. I think it's quite coincidental that today, 6 days before they go into Wembley, and I think it came out a couple of months ago that he will be sacked after Wembley. He will get to
Mm,
Wembley and then be sacked afterwards, even
mm.
if he did win the Carabao Cup. So
And they're
this
literally
makes
a
me,
week away from
yeah, this just makes me think
final.
it's he stood up to the Super League and well done because we need that right now. We need managers to. I
Mm,
think the biggest one, if Jurgen Klopp leaves Liverpool,
mm.
that if Jurgen Klopp leaves Liverpool after everything he's done,
Yeah.
Champions League, Premier League. If he leaves Liverpool, then it was because of that reason. Because he has no reason whatsoever, apart from his own, you know, well-being and things like that. He has no reason other than that to leave Liverpool. They're not doing badly in the league. Yes, they're going for a bad turn in form, but they seem to have rectified that now. Sort of, you know. I just think we are going to hear so much about this in the summer. Potentially being kicked out of the Premier League, the UEFA competitions.
Mm, mm.
It's going to be busy. It's going to be busy on social media and everything else. But I'm just at a loss for words today.
Yeah, it's going to be very busy. And look, we're going to keep on top of this. I personally, for one, don't think I can talk about Arsenal anymore in terms of football, in terms of what's going on
Until this is done.
for
Yeah.
progressing with games coming up against Everton, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to keep on top of this Super
Yeah,
League
that's the
thing
point.
because
Actually, what happens to creators? What happens to YouTubers that talk
Mm,
about
mm.
football? What are they going to talk about
Well,
now?
what's
They're
the
just
point
going
of talking about football though? That's the whole point, because the reason we talk about football is because we as fans want to see our clubs move forward. Now,
Yeah.
if our club is right at the top and they've got no purpose of competing other than to try and win the Super League, and right now, who gives a flying fuck about the Super League? Because you're there, and it seems as if I personally feel like teams will have no incentives of winning the European the Super League because of the amount of money that they're going to be getting just for signing on anyway.
Yep. It's just this whole thing.
Where do we go
Well,
with transfers? How do we approach transfers? Arsenal now have the money to absolutely go, ham in the
yeah,
summer transfer window.
that's
So
funny.
where
Arsenal
do we
now
go
have
from there?
yeah.
Yeah.
After all these protests, after all these conky out, they've been literally they've been like, handed the money. Like literally, someone's gone up to them and gone, here's X amount of money, go and buy your players.
Hmm. Yeah.
What was the, what is the point? What is the point?
Nothing
Like,
is earned, nothing is gained. And I think I would have preferred Arsenal more. I would have appreciated it more if it was a 2 to 5 year plan. If it was something which was gradual rather than, and this goes back to teams like Chelsea and City. Like how can you enjoy watching a game of football when you know everything is handed to you, when you don't need to work hard for anything, because come the summer transfer window, you have the ability to spend 200 and 250 mil.
mm,
Where's that sense of satisfaction?
where's that sense of satisfaction when you sign a big player now and go, oh,
Exactly.
we've signed a Haaland or whoever it may be. Oh
Mm,
yeah, but we had the money to do it anyway, so what's the point?
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
where is the? I never thought I'd react to it in this way, but seeing everything that's been associated, I thought I'd react to it in like more of a calm and constructive way. But seeing this is just ridiculous, and seeing people like Manchester City, who, if there's any Manchester City fans in here, no disrespect to you, but seeing them there that have just spent this amount of money already,
Hmm.
and then they're gonna get a sum on top of that. It's just pure greed. And then you obviously have the TV companies, the Sky Sports, your BT. They're not gonna want to do this, I don't think. So
Well,
I think
well,
what
let's
happened.
well let's see what happens, because it seems as if that Sky and BT haven't been invited into the party, and if they are, and if they take the deal, because now we really get to tell the difference between the cats and the dogs. Now we really see the true colors of these corporations, with people like Gary Neville and Mika Richards and Roy Keane from Sky making those comments.
Yep.
What do those comments actually mean? If Sky then go and sign a television deal, a lucrative deal, of course it will be. If Sky go ahead and sign a lucrative television deal to broadcast the Super League games, then what does it matter? What does it matter that Gary Neville, Roy Keane, Mika Richards, and any other pundit is unhappy? It means jack shit.
Yeah, but the thing is, if it's not Sky or BT, you can bet his bottom dollar that it will be one of those, like either Netflix or
Amazon or the
Amazon,
Zone.
Amazon or all these, and maybe or they just forget about TV, and they find a way to do it online, and everybody will be able to show the games if you pay like a membership, which will still take money away from the fans, and they will be happy. But right now we don't know that, obviously, and it's just pure speculation. But we're gonna have to delve into this a little bit deeper when news comes out. But for now, I just don't know what there is else to say.
I don't think there is much else to say. I think there's going to be a lot of breaking news coming out soon this afternoon, and we're going to have to keep an eye on it. James, thank you very much for joining me.
No
I
worries, man.
really
No
appreciate
worries.
the time taken out. I know you've got another show to go on to in about 15 minutes, so enjoy
Yeah,
that one as well.
I will
And
do.
give my hellos to Anthony and the rest of the boys. But for the listeners, thank you very much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please do give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. Let us know whether you agree or disagree with what we said, and you can find both of us on Twitter. You can find me at Gunner since 96. You can find James at James Payne AFC, and you can also find me on YouTube. Again, I don't really know what type of videos I'm going to be releasing. My schedule has literally been absolutely messed up now. So yeah, I'm yeah. I mean, I haven't got anything else to say. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.
See you on the
Bye-bye.
next one.